Here we go again. Is latest spate of tornadoes a new normal in Missouri and Kansas? The first was in Kansas, followed by another that cut through tiny Golden City, Mo, killing 3 people. Then, as the thought went through Smith's head. Here. Indeed, Smith is right. Missouri and Kansas, nothing new there, Dorothy. But other scientists suggest that something more novel may also be stirring in the winds. Putting politics and personal beliefs aside as to the cause of global warming, most scientists have zero doubt that it is man-made. There is no question that planet Earth is heating up. In the last 100, recent scientific work suggests that climate change in Kansas, Missouri, and elsewhere could eventually lead to thunderstorms that are wetter and perhaps more violent, flooding as the region saw yet again over the weekend, and more droughts. There's no clear link between global warming and tornadoes. But in terms of notorious tornado, that means a higher frequency of tornadoes in Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Illinois, Indiana, Tennessee, Kentucky, and eastern Missouri. Well, there. Oklahoma. In his paper, A.G. says that the change may. But a connection that scientists are making is the one between rising Earth temperature and how much water vapor is held in the atmosphere. The hotter the air, what? Not necessarily more thunderstorms, he said, but ones that dump more rain. And thunderstorms, of course, spawn tornadoes. But the effect of still, Easterling said, there. Smith, the meteorologist who's retired but still studies weather and consults for science-based businesses, does not believe that climate change is affecting the tornadoes blasting across the Midwest. He maintains that the only reason it seems bad, he said, is in comparison to more recent years. Last year, 1,154 tornadoes were reported, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. The year before, that's natural variability. 1. Harold Brooks, the co-author of the Nature paper and a research meteorologist at the National Severe Storms Laboratory in Norman, Oklahoma, said that while having Justin Titus, a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Springfield, called this tornado outbreak above normal, but once the winds of this spring's tornadoes die down, Kansans and Missourians may want to get a handle on something else, the growing possibility of long-term drought. The United States is split in half by what researchers call a transition. But a study last year, published by Columbia University professor and climate researcher Richard Seeger, shows that line is gradually traveling east and has moved atop Kansas City. The result? Kansas City will. Water-intensive crops like corn may be pushed to the east. Hardier crops. Seeger's study didn't tie the change to severe weather, although he said it does portend increased drought to the west. The good news: the transition happens gradually, giving people time to plan. The bad news: people, it's. Visit the Kansas City Star. Kansas City, MO. ed. Search for location/city.
Raindrop, drop top, top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.